What's going on YouTube? So few sedans are as iconic as what we are in today, the small but mighty Honda Civic.
Long one of the best affordable sedans, today we're in the latest 2024 version in the touring trim level.
So, is there a new hybrid version this year? Let's go ahead and find out. So you might have heard about the upcoming hybrid model and been wondering, has it been added to the lineup? That's the question we just asked in the introduction. And we won't keep you waiting. We'll just go ahead and tell you the answer is no. It is not going to be available for 2024 model year. Honda has just confirmed that it is going to be available for the 2025 model year in both the sedan form and the hatchback form. In Europe, that's making 181 horsepower, if you're wondering about what type of power you might be getting. And of course, we're looking forward to having that here in the States with the best fuel economy in the Civic lineup. Now, what is under the hood of our model we have today? Well, the rest of the powertrains are going to continue on for 2024. So it's going to be a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine on your lower two trims. If you have your upper two trim levels, like this Touring, this is going to be a 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine with 180 horsepower, 177 pound-feet of torque.
All models have a CVT. It is a front-wheel drive exclusive vehicle, and even though we don't have the hybrid just yet, fuel economy still comes in at 34 miles a gallon combined as tested today.
Now, like always, we are going to go out for a test drive with this Civic Touring. We're going to get things like our signature sound level reading. That way we can compare the sound level to its competitors on CarConfections.com. But first, let's go ahead and close up the hood and take a look at the exterior of this latest 2024 model. Now, depending on the generation of Civic, they've kind of gone back and forth between having more subdued designs and really bold designs. This generation is one of the more subdued and mature looking designs of the bunch. And as you can see, it has those design elements that have since reflected throughout the rest of the Honda lineup, including this simple black grille that's going to go across the front in a bar shape. You do have this part finished in body color and then a large black area down here in the lower part. As we come over here to our headlights, these are very premium looking, and these are actually across the entire Civic lineup. You're going to have the LED reflector headlights, and then you're going to have the daytime running light and turn signal indicator across the top. Plus, if you choose the top-end Touring model, this will get you an LED fog lamp. Now, moving around to the rear design, you continue to have a nice handsome design, especially with the Touring model.
Yeah, and of course this is also available in a hatchback form if you'd prefer that design. But Drew's going to go ahead and hop inside because here at Car Confections we like to test out the taillights to see if all three elements are LED. So we do have an LED brake light portion. I like that. Incandescent reverse light, incandescent turn signal indicator though. So 1 out of 3 elements are LED, but that's actually going to be your standard taillight cluster on all versions of the Civic. So not too bad for this segment of vehicle, that's for sure. Now, as we drop down to this lower area, you will notice that clean and classy look once again takes hold. There's not really a lot going on down here. It's all body color. You do have a hidden exhaust pipe here on the right side for the Touring model, and if you choose the Sport, you will have a single exhaust outlet on the right side.
Now, moving on to your wheel options, you have 16, 17, and 18-inch alloy choices. This being the top-end Touring is going to get the 18-inch alloy wheel. This is going to have a special Touring exclusive contrast finish. The Sport also has a 18-inch alloy wheel, but with a gloss black finish. Speaking of that, the Sport would have a gloss black finish on the mirrors. And as far as your features, you will have to choose the EX or the Touring trim level if you want blind spot monitoring or heating.
Now, as far as the Civic sedan's overall length, it's going to be coming in at 184 inches, and I do really like the overall side profile of this vehicle. Now, I also want to talk about your safety systems because a lot of young adults drive Honda Civics, so you will be safe even while you're still honing in those driving skills because you have all 4 of your active safety features as standard equipment across the board on the Civic lineup. Additionally, if you choose a top-end Touring trim level like what we have today, you will also get low-speed braking control and rear cross traffic alert. But guys, let's check out the interior and see if there are any changes in there. But before, if you're new here, we're brothers, and we've been reviewing cars since we were 12
and 16. We may be young, but we love cars.
And we'd love for you to subscribe to be a part of our Car Confections family. Let's learn a lot, have some fun with all the latest cars.
Now let's get into the interior. First, of course, we'll take a quick look at the key fob. It's the newest Honda key fob, really small, lightweight. You also have remote start and smart entry built into the fob if you choose anything except the base LX trim level. Getting inside, just grab behind the handle. That's going to unlock the door. And of course, taking a look inside of the cabin, it has that really nice, clean, classy look that's had for a few years, even on Honda's most affordable sedan. Let's start by talking about our seats and color options as well. If you want leather seats, this is going to be the way you have to go. You have to choose this touring model because this is the only one that's going to upgrade from the cloth seats to the leather. As you can see, we do have nice stitching details on board. These are very comfortable seats as well. And packaged with that is going to be power adjustment. So this is an 8-way power adjusting seat. No lumbar support though, that's going to be missing. Otherwise it will be a manual seat on the other trims. But let's go ahead, climb inside. Now that we're fully inside, let's look at some of the rest of the materials. Now Civic has always had such a nice cabin, one of the very nicest in the class. That continues with our soft touch armrest, soft touch materials along the upper part of the door trim. It's going to be all padded throughout the upper part of this. And as we move down to the center, you have a piano black with this very nice looking single vent effect. And then finally down here at the bottom, we have what appears to be a faux carbon fiber and a very solid feeling center console. But let's go ahead and fire it up with our push button start. Now that I've started it up, first place I want to focus in on is the gauge cluster. As you can see, it is a full digital gauge cluster. This is the 10.2 inch full digital gauge cluster. You can customize it with various different kinds of information. This is going to be on just the touring trim level, but it's a piece of technology that a lot of other Honda models, including like the Honda Pilot, most versions of that do not have the digital gauge cluster. As you can see, we have rain sensing wipers on the touring trim level, and coming back to the steering wheel, latest Honda design, leather wrapped on all but the base LX. It will be manual tilt and telescoping. If you want heating though, you will have to choose the big brother Honda Accord. One thing you won't have to choose the Honda Accord for is having a good amount of storage, actually an excellent amount of storage, I'm going to say. This here is our signature donut test. We do this because this is our emblem, and we want to see how many of these donuts will fit in a center console. It doesn't matter what size the outside is, it matters what's on the inside. And this is going to have 12 donuts, a full dozen fit inside this console. Way, way, way more than what you get in a Toyota Corolla. Up in front of that, we have our 2 cup holders, another storage area up there, and you also have a wireless phone charging pad built in. As we come back to the shifter, we don't have the push button style, we actually have the physical version. Pull back for drive, you do have paddle shifters on the steering wheel for simulated shifts. And then when we go into reverse, this is where you'll see a standard backup camera. All the models are going to have this with the active trajectory. What's different about the Touring is the fact that we have the parking sensors for front and rear, and that visualization actually is going to take up a little bit of the screen. Going into park, we do also have an electronic parking brake and brake hold behind that, as well as our drive modes and our auto start stop defeat button. Rising up to our climate controls, remarkably similar to all the other Hondas in the lineup. This is going to be a dual zone automatic setup with the EX and the Touring trim levels. As you can see, very nicely done with those controls. You also have 3-stage heated seats on those same trims as well. And as we move above, we come to our volume knob. So let's talk about the audio system. Touring is the only trim level to come with a 12-speaker Bose sound system. And we'll give it a sample right now. So overall sound quality is very nice, certainly fills up the cabin really well, and if you're into audio, I'd suggest, thinking about upgrading to the Touring trim level. Another thing that the Touring trim level is going to give you is exclusive access to this 9-inch display. We were recently in the Honda Pilot, and this is exactly the same as what you get in that, because you're going to have elevated technology inside of this as well. You're going to have wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay abilities. Otherwise, if you have the other trim levels, you're going to have a 7-inch display, and those are going to have a lot less features on board, including wired Android Auto and wired Apple CarPlay. This model is also going to come with a built-in navigation system. Now, as we rise above, we have an auto-dimming mirror, 3 HomeLink universal remotes. That's on the Touring trim level. And then the EX and the Touring trim level will come with this sunroof.
Now, the Civic has always had one of the nicest rear seats in the entire segment, and that will continue for 2024. We're sitting at a little over 37 inches of legroom and a little over 37 inches of headroom, which does mean this is larger than the Toyota Corolla. It's pretty much right on par with that of the Hyundai Elantra and Nissan Sentra, but this is going to be definitely one of your larger offerings in the segment. And as far as the seat adjustment, right now, this is adjusted to Drew, who's 5'8". I'm 5'9", and we are sitting at a very solid 8 inches of knee space. Also, my feet can easily slide up underneath of the seat for additional comfort. And may I add, these rear seats themselves are very comfortable, at least in this Touring trim level. This is a very nice rear seat for this segment. And you're also going to get the fold-down center armrest if you choose an EX or a Touring trim level. Now, as far as other features, you're going to get no vents on any version of the Civic, but we do have USB ports for your higher-end models. These are 2 charging USB ports. And then turning to your door trim, this is going to be hard touch as compared to the front, which is a soft touch door trim. That's not really unexpected. And we do have leather through the center as well as on the armrest portion, plus a bottle storage down in the very bottom. Now, we all know Hondas shine when it comes to practicality, so let's see how much cargo space we have in the Civic Touring. Now, we do have a button to release it, and I do want to point out it is very nicely dampened. They have a little hydraulic arm over here on the side that keeps it nice and dampened. Now, as far as the space is concerned, for the Touring trim level, we're looking at 14.4 cubic feet of cargo capacity. For all the other trim levels, you're looking at 14.8 cubic feet of cargo capacity. I do believe the Touring model has special things for its audio system that kind of impede a little bit on the cargo space, but not much overall. And I will say that that is going to be larger than the Corolla, the Elantra, the Sentra in terms of cargo capacity. Now, I want to talk about features as well. So as you can see, the seats right now are folded up. We do have 60-40 split folding seats, and that's on the EX and Touring trim levels. If you choose the Sport and LX trim, that's going to be a single-piece folding mechanism. So if you choose the higher-end trim levels, you have the more usable folding mechanism. Now, I did bring my measuring tape here so we can measure how much space there is from the back of the seat backs to the rear of the cargo area, about 38 inches of length. And then as far as the cargo opening width, we're sitting, once again, 38 inches, so it's a 38 by 38 cargo area. And then if I lift up the cargo floor, there is a spare tire underneath of here. Not bad.
Yeah, nice acceleration. Obviously, as you can tell, we are going uphill as well. So, good job on that front. Now, with the Touring trim level, as we mentioned with the spec dump, you are going to have the 1.5-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. That's the more powerful of the two offerings, and it has 180 horsepower, which is actually quite good for this segment of vehicle.
And it has 177 pound-feet of torque, which is also very good for this segment of vehicle. Now, if you compare that to what you're going to get on the base end with the Sport and LX trim levels, that's going to be where you get the base engine setup. That's 158 horsepower, so a pretty substantial increase in power if you choose the EXL or the Touring trim levels of this Civic, so that's definitely something to keep in mind. Also, something to keep in mind is that base engine setup is a 2-liter 4-cylinder, whereas this is a 1.5-liter turbo 4-cylinder, and this is one of the quietest, most refined turbocharged engines that we've ever sampled out. They put it in a lot of different products, and
yeah, it doesn't make much noise. Definitely the standard engine is going to be noisier. But I also do read all of you guys' comments, by the way. You know, if you make a comment, we will see it. And I see a lot of people are a little skeptical about wanting a turbo. So if you don't want a turbo, you still have the option of those lower 2 trim levels. Let's talk about the other aspect of the powertrain. That, of course, is the transmission. As you can tell from that acceleration, we do have a continuously variable transmission. Honda's done a nice job with this transmission. It's good and responsive. That's what I like about it the most. When I put my foot down, I get an immediate response. I don't have to wait for a bunch of time as the rubber band effect is going through the CVT. They really tune this quite nicely overall. And this is going to be available just with front-wheel drive. The Corolla and some of the other competitors do offer all-wheel drive at this point, but this is just going to be front-wheel drive. Now, as I go around that corner there, I'm reminded of one thing that really stands out about the Civic, and that is the driving dynamics and the performance. Now, of course, this is the touring trim level. We don't have the SI or the Type R, but at the same time, you can tell that the DNA of those models kind of diffuses down into this touring model because you do have good dynamics. The chassis is going to be very, very solid. Nice control over the body. You don't have much body roll, anything like that. The steering is also nicely weighted. They do a good job of keeping it light for, your everyday driving situations, but also keeping it very responsive so that it feels light and agile on its feet.
Yeah. And now that we're speeding up here, I do want to talk about your ride quality, because that kind of goes with that. Does the better driving dynamics than most in the class translate to a rough ride quality? And I'm happy to report here in this touring model, it absolutely does not. The touring has a very good ride quality for the segment. It's going to soak up the bumps very well, despite having pretty large wheels on this model. I also think these seats are incredibly comfortable. So you're going to be very happy with the ride quality. I'd say this is better than most in this segment. Now, one thing that we also want to test out here at Car Confections is our sound level reading, because that's one of our signature things, and we're going to go ahead and get that at 55 miles an hour on fan speed 1. Official Car Confections sound level reading is 59.9 decibels on this 2024 Honda Civic Touring. And one of the things that I'm going to go do right now is I'm going to go to carconfections.com, because on our website we've actually posted all the sound level readings for all the cars that we've tested out over the years, which certainly is a lot, so we can see how loud the Civic is compared to some of its rivals like the Corolla. And as far as how that compares to a lot of its competition that is going to place this Civic Touring, even its highest in trim level, on the louder end of the segment, that's for sure. It is quieter than the Civic Sport that we tested out earlier, the 2023 model. That came in at 64 decibels, so it's quite a bit quieter if you choose the highest end touring trim level, but it's still going to be on the louder end for the segment. And as far as fuel economy is concerned for this Civic Touring, it's going to come in at 31, 38, 34 miles a gallon combined. If you choose the different trim levels, you will have slightly different fuel economies, but the EX trim level, that's actually going to be your best fuel economy. That comes in at 36 miles a gallon combined. And then if you choose the base engine setups, the Sport, that's actually worse fuel economy at 33 mpg combined. So that's something worth noting here. If you get the higher trim levels, not only are you getting more power, you're also getting better fuel economy. And of course, there is news about a Civic Hybrid coming eventually, but that is not the case for the 2024 model year. That will be for 2025.
Right, Honda just confirmed that.
Yeah, I believe that was
really
just like
recently,
yesterday or something.
As to when we're filming this video, that it will, enter into production in 2024 and then be available as a 2025 model year.
Let's go ahead and do our airball and slam dunk, our favorite element and our least favorite element about the 24 Civic. Drew, kick us off with the slam dunk.
Yeah, so for the slam dunk, I think we just want to say how good of an overall package this is. This really takes everything and just puts it together so nicely. You have a vehicle that is excellent in so many different ways and oftentimes excels above the competition. So that's one of the nice things about it.
Yeah, and as far as our airball, it's going to be that, I guess Honda knows this is one of the best options when it comes to exterior, interior practicality, and indeed this is one of the more expensive choices in the segment. That is for sure. You will hear the pricing here in just a second, but this touring model is over $32,000 as tested today, which is pretty pricey for this segment. And lastly here, I do want to mention your warranty. It's going to be Honda's signature warranty, 3-year 36,000 miles for your basic, 5-year 60,000 miles powertrain. Additionally, you are going to get 2 years of complimentary maintenance, which was a new feature added pretty recently. Now let's talk pricing for the 2024 Civic. Now, prices this year are going to rise about $1,000 each trim level, so that's a pretty substantial price increase for 2024. So that means that the touring model is going to start at above $30,000 this year. So we have the 24 Civic Touring, $30,550 is the base price on that, plus destination and our premium paint color. We're looking at over $32,000 as tested today. Of course, you can get the other trim levels for quite a bit less money, as you can see on the screen right now. But guys, if you're a smart shopper, the next place you're going to go to is carconfections.com/newcarquotes. Now, on our website, we have a tool that will connect you to dealers in your area to get you the best price on your new vehicle. Additionally, it's going to give you access to invoice pricing information, which is a great tool for dealer negotiation. If you'd like to take advantage of that, a link is provided in our video description. Well, guys, that's going to be all for our in-depth review of the 2024 Honda Civic Touring. If you enjoyed watching this video or found it helpful in your purchasing decisions, we would really appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button down below. We want to welcome you into this Car Confections family because we do a lot of car reviews on this channel, and we also have a lot of fun, and I'm sure you won't want to miss out on any of that. So please hit that subscribe button down below. If you're already a part of our family, thank you so much for your continued support, and we'll catch you next time as we sample more of the latest automotive delicacies.